G'day guys, Charlie here. So, I was just on Reddit and I saw this video here on videos. And the title is Fishline Employee Falsely Accuses Two Men of Stealing, Has Them Detained While She Searches All of Their Bags. First of all, I don't know what Fishline is. I assume it's some American store. I find it worded kind of weirdly. Well, when I initially saw it, I was say this employee falsely accuses two men of stealing, has them detained. She doesn't have that power. To my knowledge, an employee of a store doesn't have the power to have people detained. It's up to the officers. It's up to the officers' discretion whether they're detained or not. That's my initial. Well, that's how things are done in New Zealand. You know, if someone breaks something or steals something in a store that you own, you call the cops. The cops come and assess the situation. They don't blindly just believe a store owner. That's not how things work. I mean, if that's how things work in America, it's on the cops. Because as soon as you call that authority, it's on them. They become the higher authority in that situation. It's just like in any job that you have, you know. If something happens, say if you're, you know, just a general employee, something happens in the store, you let the store manager know you've removed, you know, that from you. It's not your kind of business anymore. You've given it to a higher authority. So anything that happens from then on isn't to do with you. You've given the responsibility basically to that higher authority, and that's what you do when you call the cops. So to say that she has them detained is incorrect, unless, like I said, the police situation in America is different to New Zealand, where you basically control the cops when you call them. So to my knowledge, and yeah, I clicked on the video. I went through. It's just cops standing there with two guys. Keep going through. Then this chick, which is obviously, I assume, the employee, who falsely accused, which is fine. Falsely accusing someone of stealing is fine. If you believe someone is stealing, you say, hey, I think you're stealing. And you go, no, here's the proof. And you prove you're not stealing by giving a receipt or something like that, or showing your bags. So maybe it was her poor form for not going up to these guys and saying, hey, I think you're stealing. But at the same time, if someone did steal and you went up to them, hey, you're stealing, and they just run off with your product, then you've just lost the product. So I think she went around the smart route of calling an authority figure to come and sort out the situation themselves. Because it'll be it's a lot easier for the cops to go chase these guys rather than her leave her store and chase these guys and try and get her products back. So she actually went the smart route. So far, what I've seen, it's the cops' fault. They handcuff guys who don't need to be handcuffed. Like, why are they handcuffed? The cops handcuff these guys for no, like, not really a decent reason. I mean, sure, they might be, you might assume them to be thieves. You go up to them, hey, you know, we want to check your bags. They're obviously not trying to run. There's no need to cuff them. They've obviously given up their bags to be searched. You know, if they start saying, hey, we've got receipts, like he says at the end of the video over here, this part here, this is where he says he has receipts. They just have to hand over the receipts. Cops will check them, go, okay, that's fine. Or the employee checks them and go, yeah, these are valid receipts. That's the way. That's the normal way you'd go about it. So why they were handcuffed, I don't know. It's not the employee's fault. That's not her fault. She calls the authorities, and the authorities decide to cuff her. Maybe if she said, hey, I think these guys have stolen from me and they've pulled guns on me and tried to stab me, then yeah, that would be reason to handcuff. But she doesn't make that decision. How he says to the police officers that it isn't their fault. And they were amazing. They felt like absolute shit. Yeah, because they didn't do their job correctly. They made themselves look like fools. That's a fair comment. But you scroll down to, where is it? It's the next comment here. What a fucking power trip by the minimum wage cashier. It's not a power trip. If you assume someone's stealing from you, you call the cops. That's not a power trip. It's nothing else. If you assume someone's stolen from you and you think you know the culprits, then you call the cops and the cops come. There's no power trip in it. If anything, it's the power trip on the cops for handcuffing guys that don't need to be handcuffed. They just want to assert their authority. She didn't embarrass herself. She just assumed that they were stealing. Maybe there's a slight bit of embarrassment there, but not that much. Because that's your job. Your job is to look after your product, to make sure that your business is running efficiently, and having your shit stolen is not efficient because you're not making any money from it. You're losing profit. So it's quite within her rights to assume people are stealing if she has good reason. I don't know the reason. There's no prior video to that. There's not her explaining it. There's no camera footage within the store, so we don't have much to go on. But we can assume that there was good reason for her to make that claim. And as far as we know so far, there probably is a good reason. I mean, if you own a store, you assume people are stealing, you call the cops. She's done nothing wrong. She runs and hides when she's proven wrong. No, she just runs out of the shot, I'm pretty sure. We'll see if she runs and hides. No, she just steps back. The cameraman just doesn't keep shot on her, so she doesn't run and hide. She probably just goes back to her job. The cops came, arrested them. Cops said, hey, search the bags, because you know what you're looking for. It's your products. She searches the bags, finds that there's nothing in there, then tells the cops, no, there's nothing in there, goes back to her job. Simple. The only incorrect thing was probably handcuffing them. But at the same time, I definitely think that it's probably just cops just handcuffing them, which is, yeah, probably a power trip. But at the same time, in America, fucking every second person has a gun, so it's probably safe to handcuff people if they're suspected of being criminals, I guess, given the nature of the kind of place you're in. But yeah, that's my thought on the video. I think it's quite, the title of the video is kind of worded incorrectly to kind of make her look like the bad guy, which is basically propaganda, because he worded it like that, and then everyone just jumps on the bandwagon hating her, which makes no sense because she's just doing her job. The cops are pretty much the only one that are fucking in the wrong here. I mean, it's pretty common to assume someone is stolen and then have it. I don't know. I feel like it is common. If you assume someone is stealing, not everyone you say, hey, you're stealing something, is actually stealing something. I mean, it's just a misunderstanding. Misunderstandings happen, you know, and it's better to be safe than sorry, I feel, and saying, hey, I think you're stealing. She was probably not confident in going up to the guys and saying, hey, I think you're stealing. Two guys, you know, one girl confronting two guys, and she looks pretty young, the guys look pretty old. There would be a sense of intimidation there, so she just called the cops. I mean, it's nothing to it. She's fine. Cops probably shouldn't have handcuffed, but that's about it. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.